5 Italian villages where you can still buy a home right now in 2026, and we're starting in Tuscany and moving through places where the lifestyle actually holds up. Walkable streets, real communities, properties that aren't priced like fantasies. These aren't the starting from €1 headlines. These are real homes you could realistically move into, and I'll keep this practical. What the village is like, why it works for retirement, and what kind of property you can find there today. Prices and availability shift, so always verify on your end before making any decisions. One more thing before we start, don't skip ahead, because the last 2 villages will genuinely reset what you'd expect to pay for this kind of setting. Number 1, around €129,000, which lands at roughly $150,700. Skepticism is a natural first reaction to that number in Tuscany, and it's worth addressing head on. The municipality here is Torricella, and the specific village is Soyana, tucked into the Pisan hills with a medieval street plan that hasn't shifted in 800 years. The stone buildings catch afternoon light in a warm honey culture, and the daily pace here operates on a completely different frequency from any city you've lived in. Rolling hills stretch toward the coast in one direction and toward the towers of Pisa in the other, which makes this about as centrally Tuscan as a location gets. What earns this listing a place at the top of a retirement list, rather than just a bargain list, is the geography. 33 minutes from Pisa International Airport, 40 minutes from the Tyrrhenian coast. You're not trading away access for price, and that combination is genuinely hard to find. The property itself sits on the second floor of an ancient villa, completely restored, while keeping its original character intact, right in the center of the village. Private enough to avoid tourist foot traffic at your door, central enough to walk to what you need. Step inside, and you move through a dining and kitchen area with a brand new induction cooktop. Then up a few steps into a living space, anchored by a wood-burning fireplace that actually works. Not decorative, not a gas effect, an honest fireplace you'd use on cold Tuscan evenings. A few steps from the kitchen leads to a spacious double bedroom, and a bathroom with shower completes the floor plan. The apartment runs about 60 square meters, roughly 645 square feet, which is compact but very efficiently arranged. Here's where the finish level becomes genuinely surprising. Beam and joist ceilings, terracotta floors, double glazed fixtures, air conditioning, and Wi-Fi already installed. The lights connect to a mobile app, and the skylights in the bedroom and kitchen open by remote control with motorized shade curtains for managing the summer sun. At €129,000 in a restored village apartment, none of that is what you predict walking in. The sale also includes the furniture minus personal effects, with a new storage bed and a new sofa staying with the property. Walk outside, and there's a large shared garden and a pool with a panoramic view that the listing calls wonderful, and from the images, that description holds. An exclusive parking space is included as well. Fully restored, furnished, working fireplace, pool access, panoramic garden, 33 minutes to the airport at €129,000. That's a strong opening position. What comes next adds a completely different layer of history, and the price moves in a direction most people don't anticipate. Before that, a word about the Pisan Hills as a region, because if you've been researching Italian villages for retirement and this zone hasn't appeared on your list, it's worth understanding what makes it function. The infrastructure here is real. Paved roads, reliable rail connections, an international airport that connects to most major European cities, and genuine coastal proximity. The climate delivers warm, dry summers and mild winters, which puts it in a range that retirees from northern climates tend to find immediately livable. The expat and retiree community is well established, and that detail carries more weight than it might initially seem. If you're arriving without fluent Italian, there's already a network in place, English-speaking services exist, and people who've navigated exactly your situation are already there. One practical note for anyone running the numbers: Soyana and the surrounding Terricciola villages sit in a zone with relatively low property taxes by Italian standards, solid road connectivity, and an established market for international buyers. Legal pathways here are well-trodden, which matters considerably when Italian bureaucracy has the potential to derail plans that were otherwise sound. Number 2 on the list comes in at €245,000, which works out to roughly $286,000, and the price increase buys you something genuinely difficult to find anywhere else on the market. What you're stepping into is a 13th century convent, and that's worth sitting with for a moment before moving on to the floor plan. Monteriggioni is a fortified hilltop town in the province of Siena, and its medieval ring of towers is so precisely preserved that Dante referenced it in the Inferno. Vineyards and cypress-lined roads surround the town on every side, and its historic center is small enough to walk end to end in minutes, yet carries the architectural weight of a place that has been continuously defended and inhabited for over 700 years. For anyone who knows their Tuscan hill towns, Monteriggioni ranks among the most visually arresting medieval walled villages in the entire region, and this apartment sits right inside it. The property itself measures 100 square meters, or roughly 1,076 square feet, positioned on the second floor of the restored convent in the hamlet of Santa Colomba. The renovation was thorough and detail-oriented, preserving the centuries-old character of the structure while delivering a layout that actually functions for modern daily life. Walking through the apartment, you move from a spacious entrance hall into a large living area with a kitchenette nook, then down a hallway past a semireta and 2 full bedrooms, both served by their own bathrooms, and up to a mezzanine study the listing describes as ideal for a home office or reading room. On the technical side, the apartment runs on independent gas-powered heating with radiators, double-glazed wooden window frames for both insulation and aesthetics, built-in closets, and a single television system already in place. Natural light moves through the space from its external exposure, which matters more than it sounds in a building this old. The honest trade-off here involves the terrace, or rather, the absence of one, and that detail matters depending on how you live. What the listing puts forward as compensation is 2 dedicated parking spaces, included in the sale, described as a genuinely rare convenience for a historic property of this type. No major renovation work looms over the purchase either, because this is presented as a turnkey historical apartment ready to move into from day one. 13th century bones, a Monteriggioni address, a mezzanine study, 2 full bathrooms, and parking that most properties in this category simply cannot offer. This one takes the lead. Stay with the list though, because the next property makes a completely different argument, and that argument is built entirely around space. Number 3 lands at €255,000, roughly $298,000, and this one stays in the Monteriggioni area while shifting into completely different territory in terms of what your money actually buys. Siena Nord, specifically the Fornicel zone, operates on a different logic than a medieval convent or a hilltop village. Siena itself needs no introduction. The scallop-shaped Piazza del Campo, the Palio, the honey-colored Gothic architecture are all there. But the northern residential belt around the city is quieter, more functional, and built for people who want to live near all of that without being inside a postcard every single day. Fornicel sits at exactly that balance point, with highway access, city services, and a genuine residential calm that the historic center simply cannot offer. 4 rooms in Italian property terms means more than it sounds, and this listing makes that clear. 3 double bedrooms, a living room with its own dedicated terrace, a separate eat-in kitchen with its own dedicated terrace, a garage, and a cellar all come with the purchase, spread across a building of only 5 residential units, which produces a quieter, more private atmosphere than a standard condominium. Total commercial area runs approximately 114 square meters, about 1,227 square feet, with the garage and cellar occupying the ground floor separately. 2 terraces are what set this property apart at this price, and the listing is right to call them an increasingly sought-after feature. One opens off the living room, the other off the eat-in kitchen, and those 2 spaces serve genuinely different moments in a day with different orientations, different light and different moods. That kind of separation is rare at €255,000 in a well-connected residential zone anywhere near Siena. Inside, a central hallway distributes access across clearly separated living and sleeping zones, with 1 bedroom carrying its own terrace and a windowed bathroom. A second bathroom could be added with minimal intervention, according to the listing. What the property doesn't hide is its age. The apartment retains original finishes from a building constructed in the late 1960s, and renovation would be needed to bring it fully to contemporary standards. That said, the structural investment has already been absorbed. The roof was renewed in 2018, the boiler replaced in 2010, which means the next owner is updating surfaces, not infrastructure. Some listing photos include hypothetical renovation proposals, and knowing that before reviewing the images matters. 3 double bedrooms, 2 terraces, a garage, a cellar, a 5-unit building, and direct highway access to Siena. This is the property on the list most suited to a family or a remote worker who needs actual room to operate, and at 255,000 euros. The spatial math is hard to argue with. From here, the geography shifts south, and when it does, the entire character of the conversation changes. The Maremma deserves a proper moment before the next property. Grosseto Province, southern Tuscany. The terrain opens up, gets wilder, and the coast moves close enough to feel present in daily life. Capalbio specifically occupies a hilltop in the southern Maremma, overlooking the Tyrrhenian Sea, and it has somehow held onto genuine character without tipping into a fully themed tourist destination. Narrow stone-paved streets, views that stretch toward the water, long warm summers, and a loyal community of people who chose this place deliberately over everywhere else. That combination is harder to find than it looks on a map. Properties here carry a different weight entirely. Medieval stone, vaulted ceilings, exposed beams, and centuries of history embedded in the walls replace the residential practicality of Siena Nord, and the prices climb accordingly. But so does the permanence of what you're purchasing. These structures have stood for 7 centuries, and they'll stand for 7 more. For anyone building a retirement life around this part of Italy, the Maremma has historically flown under the radar compared to Chianti or the Valdorcia, which means prices have stayed grounded, even as quality of life has remained genuinely high. The nearby coastline, Capalbio Scalo, the Argentario Peninsula, the beaches of the Maremma Natural Park delivers world-class swimming and scenery through the summer months. The food culture is its own argument. Wild boar, local wines, cheese produced the same way for generations. A slower pace, real seasons, and food that actually tastes like food, the Maremma is not a compromised destination, it's the destination. Number 4 comes in at 350,000 euros, approximately $409,000, and this is where the list shifts into a completely different gear. Capalbio's historic village center is where this property sits, and the listing places it directly overlooking one of the most evocative squares in the entire village. In a medieval hilltop settlement like Capalbio, the main piazza functions as the center of everything. Communal life, market days, summer evenings, the full texture of how people actually live there, and looking out over it from your own home is a very specific thing to be able to say about where you live. 70 square meters, roughly 753 square feet, with an independent entrance and a structure dating to the 13th century. That age shows up everywhere in the best possible way. Vaulted ceilings with exposed wooden beams run throughout the apartment, and the 2 main spaces connect through an elegant masonry arch, fitted with a wooden door, which the listing describes as harmoniously separating the areas. That arch wasn't added during a renovation in a building of this period. It was constructed that way and has stayed that way ever since. The layout moves across 2 levels, with a cozy living room featuring a kitchenette and a working fireplace on the lower floor, a double bedroom area occupying a fully habitable loft above it, a second bedroom below, a bathroom, a closet, and a basement of approximately 7 square meters accessible through an internal hatch. According to the listing, the apartment arrives in excellent condition, furnished in a style consistent with the historical character of the building, and ready to move into without any major renovation work required. The furnishings are already in place and already in keeping with the space. None of that, though, is what stops people mid-scroll on this listing. What the listing mentions, and this detail is genuinely unusual, not something that surfaces in property descriptions very often, is an ancient secret passage, once used as an escape route, now walled over, but still accessible for a few meters as physical evidence of what the building lived through across its 800-year history. A working fireplace, vaulted ceilings, exposed beams, piazza views, move-in furnishings, and an actual sealed passage in the walls. All of it inside Capalbio for 350,000 euros. Consider who this property is built for. The person who wants to wake up every morning in the middle of a village that has been continuously inhabited since the 1200s, where the square below is still the square it has always been, where the stone underfoot is still the original stone. No renovation project to manage, no potential to wait on. According to the listing, it's furnished, it's in excellent condition, and it's ready. One property remains, and it reframes everything that came before it. Number 5 closes the list at 380,000 euros, about $444,000, and this one is not an apartment. A portion of a farmhouse is what the listing describes, and that distinction matters immediately. 215 square meters, approximately 2,314 square feet, spread across 2 complete levels, currently configured as 2 independent apartments, with the option to merge them into a single expansive home if that's the direction the buyer wants to take it. Panoramic views of Capalbio come with both floors. Walking through the ground floor first, 100 square meters, roughly 1,076 square feet, entered through a paved outdoor area of approximately 40 square meters and a glass-enclosed porch. Inside that level sits a living room with a fireplace, a well-appointed kitchen, a closet, 2 bedrooms, and a bathroom. Up the internal staircase to the first floor, another 115 square meters open up, and that's where a glass-enclosed terrace delivers what the listing calls a wonderful view of Capalbio, alongside a second living room with its own fireplace, a second kitchen with a closet, 2 more bedrooms, and another bathroom. A hatch near the top provides access to a partially usable attic with storage or conversion potential. Laid out plainly across both levels, the property contains 2 living rooms, each with a working fireplace, 2 full kitchens, 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a glass-enclosed terrace with panoramic views, and a glass-enclosed porch at the ground level. That's before stepping outside, where each unit's exclusive outdoor portion runs to approximately 500 square meters, totaling over 5,300 square feet of private land. That outdoor space comes equipped with a private well water supply, a pump, a power connection, olive trees, and fruit trees. Working land with its own water source in the Tuscan Maremma, looking toward Capalbio and the sea. That combination at this price is what closes the video. According to the listing, both apartments function as complete, livable units right now, with no major renovation work described. The buyer can move in as 2 separate spaces or combine them into one significantly larger home. None of that requires construction from scratch. The bones, the layout, and the infrastructure are already in place. 380,000 euros for 2,314 square feet across 2 levels, 2 fireplaces, a panoramic glass terrace, 4 bedrooms, 2 kitchens, and more than 5,000 square feet of private outdoor land with olive trees and your own water supply. For families, for multi-generational living, for anyone who searched for a Tuscan farmhouse with real land and real views at a price that actually made sense. This is why it closes the list. 5 properties down, and each one represents a genuinely different version of what Italian village life looks like in 2026, so a quick sweep of the full picture makes sense before signing off. The Soyana apartment at 129,000 euros is the most accessible entry point on the list. 645 square feet, fully furnished, working fireplace, pool access, exclusive parking, 33 minutes from Pisa Airport, and move-in ready from day 1. The Santa Colomba convent apartment at 245,000 euros is built for the person who wants to live inside actual history without giving up modern comfort. 1,076 square feet, 2 bathrooms, a mezzanine study, and 13th century bones inside one of Tuscany's most visually striking walled villages. The Fornacell flat at 255,000 euros makes the clearest case for space and practicality. 1,227 square feet, 3 double bedrooms, 2 separate terraces, a garage, a cellar, and direct highway access to Siena. Configured for families and remote workers who need room to operate. The Capalbio Village apartment at 350,000 euros is the medieval immersion pick. 753 square feet of direct piazza views, vaulted ceilings with exposed beams, move-in furnished in character with the building, and a sealed secret passage still inside the walls. And the Capalbio farmhouse at 380,000 euros closes the loop by adding land, 2,314 square feet across 2 full levels, 2 fireplaces, a panoramic glass terrace, and over 5,000 square feet of private outdoor space with olive trees. 5 different properties, 5 different visions of what a real daily life in Italy actually looks like at prices where it starts to feel achievable. Not a glossy magazine fantasy, but the version where you wake up, make coffee, and live there. Prices reflect the moment of selection, and legal and documentation checks always apply. These are real listings, available at the time of this roundup. One question worth leaving in the comments: if you had to choose one of these 5 for your retirement or your remote work life in Italy, which life are you actually choosing? The hillside apartment with the pool and the fireplace, the medieval convent in Monteriggioni, the farmhouse with the olive trees overlooking Capalbio? Leave it below. And if you want more finds like these, subscribe now, because the next region on the list has prices that will make everything covered today look expensive.